Are you guys with me on the training videos? Like those maybe being more, they're almost like the physique pictures of the off season is like your training videos along with your Excel spreadsheet.
Oh yeah, because you look at like you said, a curl 3 by. Okay, yeah, they went 10 pounds on a curl since last week. They send you a video, and you're like, well,
Yeah.
now I know why they went up 10 pounds on the curl because
Yeah.
now all of a
Yeah.
sudden there's a lot of leveraging. They look like Tarzan, swinging,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, now I got a new nickname. Like, okay, Tarzan, we need to tone that down a little bit. Let's
like
clean
they-
that up. Yeah.
They've moved from the 60-pound dumbbell to the 75-pound dumbbell on their overhead press. And you're like, let's get a look at that. And they've gone from nice full range of motion to barely breaking 90 degrees with their elbow,
Yeah.
But I will say in addition though to training videos is I do like to take snapshots of their physique in the off season, like quarterly, like Jeff said. Just because I want to kind of see, okay, you know what? It's been 3 months, 6 months, 4 months, whatever. Can we actually see some changes here? Do you actually look bigger? If we're looking for a specific body part to actually improve, is that actual body part actually looking bigger? That's when I'll usually kind of insist, you know what? It's been since December of 2020, since we saw you. Let's get a look at you again in March. So your next check-in in March, send me a video, send me some pictures, whatever. I'll get screenshots and I'll put that in my little file for you. And I'll say, okay, you know what we're doing is working or it ain't. We need to change something up. So I just wanted to kind of throw that in there too.
Also, too, if you think about it, like this is like if we're talking about physique sport or just trying to improve, body comp, it's more visual than it is number driven.
Numbers,
like,
yeah.
Like we can take a measurement of our biceps and see, okay, did I grow over 6 months? If you have to be really accurate with your measurements, but also too, this goes back to the flatness fullness topic. So let's say 6 months ago, I measure my biceps and let's say they're 18 inches. And then 6 months from now, I measure again, they're 18 and a half. But let's say I was flat back then. Maybe, I was underfed. Maybe my sodium was low that day. Et cetera, et cetera. So I have this 18-inch measurement. Then 6 months later, I got 18 and a half. But maybe let's say I had like the day before, I ate a ton of carbs or, I was really bloated from sodium or what have you. Or just in general, I'm like weighing 5 pounds heavier with some more body fat. That measurement is probably half-inch bigger because of those things versus, oh, that's actually half-inch of like real lean tissue I've put on my arm.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the visual is a lot more reliable, in my opinion anyways, how I assess things versus like, measurements, tape measures, that type of thing.
Yeah, and especially like when you're trying to improve like delts, for example. I'm like Bubert, I want to see that front symmetry pose. Let's get that front symmetry pose every single time, and let's evaluate those delts. Let's evaluate those lats. How do you measure your delts? Even if you did find a way to quantifiably measure them, does that transfer over into how does your front symmetry look? Because that front symmetry is what you're going to be standing in 80% of the time when you're on stage. And if we're trying to improve your V-tape or your delts or whatever, I want to see what you're looking like in that front symmetry pose. I don't care what your tape measure says, Well, however you measure that, sure, it may say that you gained a half an inch on your delts, but we don't see it in the front symmetry pose. That means it ain't working. We got to do something. We got to get you gaining weight faster. We got to get you putting more something there, So, yeah, I like to. It's a visual sport. Nobody cares what your body fat is. Nobody cares what your biceps measure. So,
you want to acutely bring up your delts like on game days. You pump the hell out of them. And you can definitely change a little bit of your taper then and there.
Yeah. You're giving away the secrets. I don't want my athletes pumping up their delts before we give out that day.
I don't even.
Don't do that for your progress pics now. Yeah,
Brad, I don't even work out, to be honest. I just on show day, I just pump up, and I'm like, oh, there it is.
Man. But yeah. Shoot, yeah. The delts, like you mentioned, Brad, it's like especially in those movements, you're not going to see a lot of big progressions like on a spreadsheet. Mm-hmm. So sometimes it's like, guess what? You're stuck with these 20-pound laterals like for the next 4 months, but maybe the way you do them changes. And like for that, like I need video. One thing real quick is because again, training video is like my thing. It's like I need to see it, especially in the off season. An issue that a lot of athletes have is they for us, like we're kind of accustomed to filming ourselves. Like it's just such a secondary thing.
Mhm.
I've been hooked on it since I was so pumped because I was filling up the leg press. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see this video once I was done. And I look at it and I see my range of motion. I'm like, oh my God, like I'm that guy. I'm the guy with the quarter quarter squat on the leg press, basically. But I had no idea. I was I didn't know I was doing that. So since then, it became, this was like 2007. It was like a digital camera with no 2006 with no audio. Actually, I just got hooked, and it just became an important tool where I'm like, this is just something I need to keep me in check. And like now, if like my phone dies and I don't have my camera, it's like I almost feel a little naked in the gym.
You feel naked,
Right? I need that. So, but yeah, a lot of athletes are kind of reserved about doing that. I know that sometimes there's gyms that don't allow for you to take, but usually that's changing, especially with social media. Like gyms want people to know that, hey, people train in our facility, right? Look how fun it looks.
Make sure you get that sign in the background when you take that video,
and people this was my thing, because I felt uncomfortable initially, like recording myself in the gym, and I didn't want folks to think that, oh, this here's this conceited bastard, just like he wants everyone to see his lifts. I remember I would finish my recording, and then I would like look at it with like a very extra observant look on my face, like a very okay, so that people knew that I wasn't in there just like being conceited or a creep. I'm like, this is study time. This is clearly, and honestly, I think that's how I look at things now. Like it's like after certain sets, I'll go back, I'll see, and I'm like, okay,
you're stroking your beard, huh?
Yeah, let's go fix that.
Let's clean that up. Yep.
But phones are flat. Like you can place them almost anywhere. So a lot of people, they're like, I don't have someone to record. It's like, honestly, you can place it against some other contraption, record it. You can trim it so it doesn't take up too much data on your phone, and boom, now you have data. And it's going to be, it doesn't become, you don't understand how valuable it is until you've accumulated enough of that. And you see your lateral raises with 20 pounds like now versus like 5 months ago. And sometimes it can show you that something's working, something's not working, but it's just good to keep records, man.
For sure. I do every set. I record. I mean, I don't post them all those sets, but I record every one. And like you said, in between sets, I clip them. Because if I do post them, I don't want to share like me walking up to the bar. No one wants to see. That's boring. Like just clip that out. Save space on my phone too. But I even you know me, I'm such a stickler for form. Like I even watch my facial expressions. I'm like, oh shit, I'm grunting. Like I'm grimacing too much. I need to remove that energy from my face and put it in my body, the muscle I'm training. That's how like detailed I get with assessing my own form. And not to say like I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I mean, my movement pattern is really clean on most lifts. And it's because I've watched so much film. So it's kind of like you look at, football players and all that, they watch film. That's how they get better. So I kind of talk about this a lot. I always look at other sports. How can we improve as bodybuilders by looking outside of bodybuilding? Because there's so much there that we can learn from, but we just tend to just stick to watching certain people on Instagram. And we just kind of mimic what these certain people are doing, but there's so much out there that you can pick up. So it's kind of like that Tim Duncan layup, right? Or that bank shot. Like, I'm sure he's watched film on it, and coaches have watched film on it and helped him perfect it.
Yeah.
Well, how many times do you guys, like, when you really start seeing your athletes a lot, like you're seeing them every week over and over again for like 10, 12, 16 weeks, you almost kind of start to memorize things on them, You start to memorize, oh, that was not there that week. Oh, this week, that is not there. It was there last week, and I'm not seeing it now, I think sometimes athletes that do not take advantage of us in that way and give us pictures, like we need to see pictures every next week. Oh, coach, I forgot. Oh, coach, I couldn't get the wife to take my pictures, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just like, that is such a waste. That is such a waste. I could have helped you so much in just that 1 week that you might have skipped, because I could have just spotted just one thing. Because sometimes you're just shocked. I mean, there's been some times when I'm like, oh my gosh, this person now has striated glutes and they're still 3 pounds overweight, you know? And I really appreciate, like you said, Jeff, studying film, you know, and not only on how they're looking, you know, flat, full, spilled, but then also just their movements. You know, it's like you need to eliminate that bounce with your arms when you're doing that front symmetry pose. You know, we need to clean that up. We need to get you set and you just stay there, you know, and you just breathe shallowly and get rid of that bounce. Hey, when you do that quarter turn to the side there, you need to get rid of that little twitch in your whatever, you know. When you start seeing things over and over and over again, you start spotting things that need to be cleaned up. It's like studying game film.